If you have the opportunity to come to AHR this year in Chicago, please do it. Make the effort, because sometimes just seeing these guys on Instagram, whether we're cultivating a community of people together and, supporting an idea like we did with Ben at HVAC Tactical, and really helped him to build that, idea into what it is today. Our community is one where, we all, I really believe, care that everybody does well and everybody, succeeds. It elevates our techs. It elevates the manufacturers of products like Solderweld that come out and say, okay, we need to do a better job supporting these guys because they're smarter, they work harder, and they need us to support them better.
Hola, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable HVACR podcast. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed, like, comment, all that good stuff. If you guys are listening to this on the audio podcast, wherever you listen to it, please leave a review, get this show out to more people. And if you guys are watching and listening, I truly appreciate it. We would not be here without you. Now, on that point, the first sponsor of the podcast is VIZALOGIX. The future of remote support is here now. With VIZALOGIX TethrIT Now, you can actually see what the other person is seeing. If you've ever had an issue where you're trying to help somebody over the phone, whether it's a tech of yours or a customer, we try to avoid a lot of nuisance calls, right? And you're trying to explain something over the phone, they don't understand you, you end up having to go there in person, and it might be something like really dumb. With TethrIT Now, you can actually take these video calls, no matter if they're on iPhone, Android, whatever device, because you send a link that they click on and it starts or initiates a video call. And then with their technology, you're able to take pictures, draw on the screen, tell them exactly where to look for this or that, or point to things, circle things, and show them exactly what you're talking about, or you can actually see what the issues I have. So with that, you can actually guide your tech through a call, or you can actually tell the customer, let me see your breaker, is it tripped, is it off, where's the power button, is it plugged in, all these little things that you could avoid, because like a company like us, we're a little too busy. We could be doing other calls versus going to turn a breaker back on for somebody. That happens quite a bit often. So if you guys want to learn more on VIZALOGIX TethrIT Now, visit VIZALOGIX.com/HVAC. And the next sponsor is my favorite CRM, Jobber. Now with Jobber, we can do professional invoicing and quoting, at its base, but it has so many more features. You can schedule, which we use for reoccurring maintenance. So every 6 months, this thing will remind the customer. There's so much more you can do to message customers, set up reminders, set up scheduling. You can do more with checking in and out. You have price lists. You have tons and tons of features. If you guys need help organizing your business and helping it run smoother, it's been night and day for us. We came from paper invoices. I looked at or into other softwares, and there's a lot of complaints on other ones. And one of the big ones is affordability. Now with Jobber, they have really great prices. I promise you, they have something for anybody starting and needs just the basics. And then as you grow, you can get into these much bigger plans, and it grows with your business. So if you guys are interested in looking more professional, being more organized, it helps me get these invoices and billing out much quicker. In turn, we get paid quicker. So if you guys are interested, I can get you a free trial and discount if you go to getjobber.com/reliablehvacr. And another sponsor of the channel now is VETO. VETO Pro Pack hands down my favorite tool bags. Now, you guys have seen me rock a whole bunch of VETO bags, and I have nothing but good things to say. If you ever have any issues with them, they do have a 5-year warranty, but the quality is there. You're going to hear me say that a lot about VETO Pro Pack, is the quality, the different kinds of bags, and the thought process that goes into each of these bags. Now that I've seen how they design them, and the stuff they're thinking of putting out, all the new stuff that comes out, like they really want to cover every aspect or every need of any technician across many different skill trades. Whether you're a tech that carries a laptop, you need a lot of power tools or a lot of hand tools, like they have a bag for you. Just some of the best bags I've ever had, because I used to rip a lot of the other brands you see at the supply houses or that were there forever. And now VETO Pro Pack, second to none, never had an issue. Go check them out. All right, so now to get on with the show, we have an incredible guest on tonight. And one thing about this person and their company is they've been very positive, very supportive of everybody in the HVAC community. I remember talking to Lance Robinson from Solderweld, even when I had like no followers or no subscribers, and he was very, very cool, very supportive, very engaged, and just wanted to see everybody do better. And we'll talk about all that. For any of you that are not familiar with Solderweld themselves, they have brazing rods, round rods. They have other rods for dissimilar metals. They have an aluminum repair kit. They have a flame resistant blanket that has magnets. They have hot block, which is a putty that's reusable. They say for life, and that can help you if you're brazing around sensitive valves or anything that you can cause damage if you overheat. So if you guys are interested in Solderweld and finding out more about them, they do have a website, which is solderweld.us. But now they've actually are partnered and powered by Subco. So if you guys are familiar with any Subco products, a lot of your supply houses should carry Subco or can order it. They're also on TrueTech Tools if you guys shop online at truetech-tools.com. And you can find Lance mostly over on Instagram. So I'll leave, I believe they might have a YouTube channel too. I'll leave all that in the description, but if you guys go over on Instagram, you can follow them at Solderweld HVAC. And I believe they also have at Solderweld, which is just their entire company, and the other one is like HVAC related. Here today we have Lance Robinson, owner, founder of Solderweld, which I think is a cool story because they deal a lot with automotive and HVAC. So you're going to hear about that. You're going to hear about his journey, all that good stuff. You already know how we do things here. So without further ado, enjoy the show. Lance, how are you, man?
I'm great. Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, I've been wanting to have you on here for a while now, and I'm glad that you took the time to I know you're a busy dude. I can imagine. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and talk it up with me.
I know everybody says that, and I don't know, sometimes I go back to that, but I mean, half the time, all these techs out there are, techs and business owners for that matter, in the HVAC industry. You guys are busy constantly. You're out there, you're working in the field, and it's long days, long nights, on call, all of that. So I try not to say that I'm too busy all the time, because the reality is that running a business and doing everything that I've been doing is time consuming. But the real heroes, if you will, are the ones like you guys out in the streets.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I think that a lot of the guys that use the product and get to know you, because I've had the pleasure of meeting you over at HR. I appreciate the shout out at the last award show. That was really cool to get, little recognition. Yeah, with the other big YouTubers and all that. And that's the cool part, that you're very you're humble, you're cool with everybody, you give everybody their due diligence and respect, and it goes both ways, and that's a big deal. That's what makes a company like likable, relatable. You're not just out there trying to push product in their face. You know, all that stuff matters a lot, man.
How long has your show been on air? Have you been doing the podcast? Give me an.
Podcast since like February or March, as far as like having a guest on.
All right, so to give you a little bit of an idea is, I get a lot of these guys, that you see out there. I mean, I've been around on the social media circuit since 2000 and really 16.
Yeah.
And 2016, I was helping guys get out there. Mike Mayberry was one of the only guys really that we could talk about today that was out there, with me. And there were a few others, but yeah, I mean, I was propping guys up and, really been behind the scenes, Adrian, for the most part, just helping, guys, like you, get out there and make more of an effort, make more of a presence, and let a lot of people know about you, because what you do is difficult. What you do is it's not easy. You're doing this on your own time. You're not being paid for it. You're not getting, reimbursed for the time spent editing and producing, these shows and things like that. So, we recognize that. I recognize that. And I think it's worth a shout out more often than not.
Yeah, and that's cool. And then that's a whole other like aspect of the social media stuff. Like there is a great community. That like what you said with Mike Mayberry, you and some people that have been on here longer than a lot of us, right? You guys kind of were on here and trying to help each other out and stuff. And that community, although there's bad apples here and there, has been great and growing like very quickly in the past few years as well.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's great to see. And yeah, like the whole as far as like content creation, podcasting, all this stuff, like it takes a few years or a couple years for it to show any kind of payback, but it's great. I love having these conversations, getting to know you, and I do want to get to know about your company that you founded, which is Solderweld itself. Now, Solderweld, everybody obviously that watches this show and listens, they're in HVAC related kind of work, but
Sure.
I don't think Solderweld started as an HVAC company originally, right?
No.
You guys was it automotive?
Automotive, and I then took the automotive side of it into off-road.
Oh, okay.
And it was at 2016 that I saw a real interesting link up with the HVAC industry, also plumbing. And that opened up the door to all kinds of other stuff that I realized wasn't even in my purview, wasn't even in my, my, if you will, my realm of thinking of some of these products that were so highly used in the automotive market could also be used in, these other markets, welding and things of that nature. And
Yeah,
so
stuff that translated over. So
it
like
was,
what kind of products did you guys have in the automotive industry like when you started the business?
few products.
You?
Yeah. In fact, Hot Block was one of them.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we talk about Hot Block for just a second,
Yeah.
you could see the transition between multiple markets, right? Hot Block is a heat absorption putty. When do you need it? Anytime you're turning on a torch, right? Because heat spreads. And so give you a good example is Hot Block jumped big time when the Ford introduced the F-150s that were all aluminum, right?
Oh,
And so
okay, yeah.
these panels, right? These panels were getting dented really easy, and so going and taking them in, guys were well, we can't fix aluminum, and I was like, well, absolutely you can, and here's the product to do it. And by the way, this product, Hot Block, is also going to help you from allowing warpage within that thin aluminum panel. So yeah, that's how Alloy Sol and Alloy Braze, which is our aluminum product, and we've had this product for a long time. Solderweld realized that if we just made a few tweaks to it, engineered it properly, the metallurgic makeup behind it, that HVAC would really jump on board with this. And that was some foresight. And I by any means don't want to puff up my game by saying that I saw this ahead of time, but
Yeah.
it's just like anything, things just keep coming around. Aluminum coils is nothing new to the industry, Adrian. I mean,
No,
way
it's
back
like
in the day.
when I first saw them, I just immediately thought like my car radiator. That's what it looks like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And believe me, and that's what these guys are using. They're using the alloy sol on radiators, not even having to pull them off the vehicles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's a big foresight in itself because the everything is aluminum or going to that now because I was putting in units. Now I work on a lot of older equipment. Put in a new system 6 months ago or so, and that whole thing was aluminum inside coil and outside coil. And this
Yeah.
was a commercial package unit, and I had never seen that before. And I was like, here we go. And then a few months later, I guess somebody was working on this AC that we don't service that area, but
Sure.
I guess when they were removing the panel, you could tell that they dropped it and it just like scraped across the aluminum, and then they're gonna need that repaired because that thing started leaking because it's an aluminum coil. And granted, versus trying to with a commercial, you got to get a crane out there, you got to do all this extra
Plus,
stuff,
plus the
just
amount of money.
even just for a coil or anything, because you got to be careful with those. Yeah, the amount of money that you got to get approved and all that, like versus trying to repair it. That's why I'm always trying to do repairs versus replace. And then this is just another
Yeah.
another option, another tool in my arsenal to be able to patch aluminum. So it's really cool that that came from the automotive section, and then you
Yeah, I
kind of
like
like
that you say that. Yeah, I appreciate it. Another tool in your arsenal. I mean,
yeah
you think about that. If you're out running around on your quad, your ATV, your motorcycle, your side by side, and you're out just messing around. A lot of HVAC guys own these things, and
yeah
they go hunting, they go fishing, they're doing, whatever, and they're out there in the middle of nowhere. And let's say you run a branch through your oil cooler or an oil pan or a radiator, and what do? You try and limp back it. You can't. You're stuck. So to have that, the new kit that we introduced a few years back, the off-road repair kit, to be able to have that on your vehicle is just another tool in your arsenal.
yeah. And I'm like that. I like to have tools and stuff that I would
Who
think
doesn't?
can happen. Yeah, like that stuff lives in like my vehicles, my trucks, like even if it's not my work vehicle,
Yeah.
like just in case, because I've been there too, like when my car breaks down on the side of the road and I'm like, all right, let me get my tools, let me
Yeah.
uh, get it going and get back to the house or wherever we're at. But yeah, man, that's really neat. And like you mentioned, the off-road kit, that's a good idea too. And having all these, like you said, it translated over because we were shifting to aluminum, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, is that
Well,
what well, your oldest products then would be like the hot block, the aluminum,
mhm.
repair stuff?
Yeah. And one other is the multi-sol, and it's a multi-metal solder.
Oh, that's
It's
right, yeah.
it's in the red label with a liquid flux, and this is one of our oldest products because it was so prevalent in the classic car restoration market for us.
Mm,
Um, these guys were able to use this because it even bonds to lead without melting the lead, and so
okay.
this was something huge for classic car restoration guys because they can do these fixes and they can then polish it out, or jewelry. It is big for jewelers,
Mhm.
as well as gunsmiths use it quite a bit. And it is because it's a phenomenal product and it flows at 350 degrees, which is super low temperature.
Yeah.
You'd use, your little creme brulee torch, your micro torch to be able to flow this. And so it was unheard of out there. And guys were just eating it up because, before that, you had, products like hot block that had asbestos in it. Well, that was no good. You couldn't use those. So when hot block came around, these guys were eating it up. I mean, not literally eating it, but so on.
Yeah.
And then multi-sol and alloy sol just were a hit. And to kind of give you a little bit of an idea, I mean, a lot of guys don't really know this because of the social media side of Solderweld. I hit it hard. I really went out there and I really made a splash having social media and helped a lot of guys get their account set up and a lot of guys get out there and telling a lot of them about it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of how I was running the automotive game was B2B, business to business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was out knocking on doors constantly. Every state.
Yeah, I feel like that's how all good businesses or ones that stay in business started, right? You go door to door, you meet people in person, you build those relationships and all that.
Yeah. Well, it also helped to grow the social media side too, because a lot of, I'm sitting there and I'm training, a bunch of guys in an automotive garage, and then there's an HVAC shop across the street from it. I walk over there after I'm done. Just made a sale at the automotive, store, and then I walk over to the HVAC guys and I said, hey, introduce myself, and I said, do you think that your guys, your techs, would be interested in an aluminum coil repair training? And like these owners immediately and managers were like, oh, what? Who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you do it right now, kind of thing? Or can you do it tomorrow morning? And so that's really, it opened up the HVAC world to us because I saw something, and believe me, Adrian, I'm going to tell you, it was difficult to get everybody in the industry on board with the fact that these manufacturers were moving to aluminum. Difficult. I had no idea that I get so much pushback. Even at AHR way back in the day, at Orlando and Atlanta and Chicago and then Vegas and so on. I mean, I was speaking at AHR events, and the rooms were just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was, telling people, you may not believe it, but the manufacturers, they're going to move to aluminum. Why? And everybody's like, oh, I don't know. Aluminum sucks. Nobody knows how to fix it. I said, yeah, you gotta, you're going to have to accept this at some point, because aluminum is a lot cheaper than copper. Yep. And it's a lot of, it's very easy to work with, and it transfers heat phenomenally, et cetera, and so on. Well, that was a long road, but now we all,
nobody wants to believe it. Nobody wants to believe it. Nobody wants to deal with it, but it's a fact. Like we have gone to aluminum, and like you said, it in these businesses, these manufacturers, one thing is on their mind, like how can we not cut costs, but how can we bring costs down? Aluminum, as a matter of fact, is cheaper to make and lighter, and it's easier for them to distribute. So exactly. Now you got to know, because I've had plenty. And not to say that nothing happens to copper, right? I repaired plenty of copper leaks as well, cracks, all that. Sure. But on aluminum, it's kind of a new territory, a new thing to everybody. So you kind of get scared, or you're like, oh, I don't know how to fix it. We're gonna replace it, but grab yourself a kit, learn how to work on it. And like you said, you went around and did the demo. The demo is one of the cool things that you do with the aluminum and the hot block. Mm-hmm. That was cool to see at the AHR, and obviously they're gonna jump at that because that is like free training for their techs,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, half of the time it's just, I mean, you can imagine you have 30 techs in a room, right? And you ask the question, how many of you have ever fixed an aluminum tubing or aluminum coil before? And nobody raises their hand.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of the older ones does, and he says, yeah, I tried, but I made the problem worse. So It just takes practice. But I mean, I think that, more than anything is that I've got a lot of work in front of me, even now, even as, as big as we've become, we're still a small guy. We're still the, the, if you will, the coin phrase, the David versus Goliath. We're still very small in the scheme of things. So I had to have a, something that hit, right? Something that people could latch onto where the other guys weren't doing it. Oh, they
Yeah.
may have something like we have, but to be able to fix aluminum and then go out there and show people how to do it, that has been my focus, and it's done pretty well for us. We're pretty
Yeah.
excited
And
about where it's going.
that's what I remember is just seeing you doing those demos. And that stood out that you were in all these supply houses, all these like conventions like the HR one, and I'm sure
Yeah,
you've done others. But that stands out, and that's a really cool thing to do, and have
no, I appreciate
people
it.
try it out with you too, because you have the guys actually um trying to do the repairs themselves.
At the demos too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And you know what? We've had a lot of great influencers that always show up. I mean, I guess I pride myself on, I don't really look at you as a influencer. I look at you more like a friend.
Mhm.
And, what can I do to scratch your back? If I'm behind the scenes all the time, what can I do to help you make your podcast better? What can I do to help you make your influencer stage more appropriate or better? And
Yeah.
if I can help out, great, because, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It just happens. And we've had some really great influencers throughout the years that, these guys have really represented our product phenomenally. And I
And
appreciate that.
it's and a lot of it's like just them willingly doing that for you because they believe in the product as well. Because I'll be honest with you, like when I found out about Solderweld and I was like, okay, let me go give it a shot, right? I like that they were different. They were in those canisters because that's the one thing I hated about the other brand is I would always break them, the little plastic container. Yeah, one time I caught myself and at the supply house, and then there was a guy there. He's like, "Oh, you almost made a huge mess," because I pulled it off the shelf and the cap came off, and I like caught all the rods. And I was like, "That doesn't happen with the Solder World ones because you guys have that twist top." That's one of my favorite things. And then the fact that they're round rods, yeah, because
Adrian, that's really cool, though. I mean, literally, that's really cool that you said that, because that was kind of just a off the cuff thing. I didn't really. I
but
just
like I don't understand it because the other one has been around so long, and I'm like,
right.
this is the dumbest. I'm like straight up, this is the dumbest thing ever. I break all the, or I lose the caps or something, it breaks, whatever. Then I got rods everywhere. So
Okay,
when I saw that or the twist top on yours, I was like, genius.
let me ask you a question. Okay, well, you would agree with me that presentation makes a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so skimping on one aspect because you want to, raise your profit margin up just a little bit, but skimping on that causes the inline tech to have problems.
Mhm.
Or worst thing is they take that tube home, or to their truck, and they go to reach out to do some, silphos burning, and the rods go everywhere. Well, guess what? Those rods are now contaminated, and
Oh
that's the
yeah.
one thing
Yeah.
that has to be eliminated. So that was an easy fix on my part, but I just saw it the way you guys see it. If it's easier and it's going to save the rods and it's not going to make me have to spend time cleaning up, then great. Twist top done.
Yeah, it's such a like that's the one of the things that got on my nerves. And like I said, when I saw it, I was like, okay, cool. Like I was gonna try the Solder World ones out and everything, and then I got the whole canister. That case is really cool just to keep everything organized as
Thanks.
well.
Yeah, thanks.
Um, yeah, and I know it's like to keep it dry and all that, or to help it, and just little things like that like they add up. Like so many little things eventually just add up. It's a good presentation, but it's also um, useful, right? It's useful at the end of the day because that stuff stays sealed, stays closed, and it stays put. Because, like I said,
Contaminant.
I've broken so many of those other ones and lost the caps and whatever it is. And man,
What did you think of the round rod? You said something about that earlier.
well, I was gonna say like I know everybody supports like you said on social media, but I think it's because they believe in the product. I had that experience as well. Like when I bought it, I had to order it, and I still can't. it's still hard for me to get it in the supply house, but I always make sure that I order it. And when I first used it, for some reason, like it flowed much better. And
I appreciate that.
I know everybody says it flows like butter, and I can agree with that. And I'm used to doing a lot of repairs, like leak repairs and U-bend repairs and things like that, where it can be difficult to get that rod in there. And for one, it's easier to hold, and two, it was on the first try that I was getting all these patches done. And I was like, this is saving me time. It's making it easier. I'm in and out. That's what I care most about.
You know, I don't often get to hear the success stories, to be honest with you. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that, because you know, sometimes it's like, you know, it's like anything, you know, you're out on the job, you go the extra mile, you know, you do the extra work, and then the customer doesn't say anything about it. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, it's nice to hear that once in a while, because, you know, I am spending that. We are spending that extra time to try and make your guys' lives easier, better, and more
Mhm.
efficient. And so, we're introducing new products, and I don't know if you want to touch on the new products yet or anything, but we can talk about that too. I really enjoy, you know, designing and creating, you know, new stuff that's going to make your lives easier.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do have it here a little bit later to talk about a couple
Cool.
of some of the products and anything else you want to mention. But yeah, man, that's kind of what made me a believer and stuff like that. Was just it was making my job easier on different ends or different areas. And I really try. I have some old rods from the other company that have been sitting in my van for a while. And like I said, I can't get the Solderweld in the supply house yet, but I always make sure that I restock and order them online, because I'd rather not have to use those emergency rods, is what I call them now.
That's great.
So did you
Well,
grow up around the trades?
um, actually, I mean, perfectly honest with you, my father was a dentist, my mother was a hygienist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
but
didn't go down that dentist
no,
route?
no, no way. Yeah, no, that there was no interest there at all. In fact, I like working with my hands a lot better. So
Okay.
that was that. But I kind of realized that growing up, I had a natural knack for presentation speaking.
Okay.
Um, and some companies hired me, and before long, I was traveling the world educating and training, companies and individuals, how to change their lives and make their lives better. So, my wife often likes to laugh about it. You remember the Saturday Night Live skit with Chris Farley before he passed?
Yeah.
Uh, I live in a van down by the
Oh,
river.
yeah.
I was in a sense a motivational, presenter speaker.
Okay.
And so I've seen a lot. I mean, I've been to pretty much every big or relatively big city in the United States, Canada, South America, Europe. Um, I've been to, all into Eastern Asia, as well as, Thailand. I mean, anyway, lots and lots of
For,
places. So I've been all over.
yeah, lots of travel. I mean, that's really cool. Lots of
A lot of
traveling.
travel.
And, all that was when you were doing that whole, speaker presentation,
Uh-huh.
gig?
Yeah. But I've always been, around the trades, and I have a lot of good friends that are in the trades, and it always interested me, mainly simply because my mind's just constantly going, Adrian. I'm just, I
Yeah,
don't.
and I like, somebody else had mentioned that to me, that they weren't around it, but, like, the way you're describing it is kinda how they were describing it, working with their hands, or they like to do that. I know you're, like, an outdoors person too, and the way your mind thinks or races, you were just like a tradesperson at heart, honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Plus, I mean, I've really become very fond over the last 10 years. Really fond of the HVAC industry. And something that I realized that is there's not enough disruptors in the HVAC industry. And you know
Yeah.
what I mean by a disruptor, correct?
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, there were never any new products that hit the HVAC industry. None. They were just
Yeah.
all the same things, and you accepted what you had. So when I came along, I vowed I was going to disrupt the market by showing people that there were things out there that could make their lives better and introduce things to them that they had never had before or didn't realize. And then also go up against the current products that were in my realm, right?
Yeah.
That I could make better. Hot Block was one of them because you probably remember or know Thermo Trap, the
Oh
gels
yeah.
and things, right? Or the spray gels.
Yeah.
A lot of people still use that. And hey, that's okay. If you're comfortable with that, I just thought it was messy. I thought it was a disaster. And the other thing is you can only use that bottle once and then you're buying another bottle. And sometimes these guys are going through multiple bottles a month.
Yeah, and the whole hot block thing, like I know, like you said, some people like to use what they're used to, or some people just don't like to give it a shot. But I started using putty, like for all my valves, for all the sensitive things that I was going to be around or close enough to where you're going to damage that, or make them leak, or whatever it is. And it's just a product that works because
Yeah.
I've used it so many times. There is a little cleanup that you got to do afterwards, but it's relatively easy. And I've tried to use the sprays and all that other stuff, and I feel like it doesn't even work sometimes.
Yeah. Well, a third party, I can't remember what influencer did this, but they did a YouTube video and put Hot Block up against some of the other, some
Oh
of the
yeah,
other
I think
products.
I've seen them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they put them up against each other, and then they read the temperatures.
Right. Yeah. And listen, and some of those that are out there, I guess you call them competition. I guess, you know what, this is a good time, Adrian. I really need to say, people ask me all the time, oh, the competition. Oh, we shouldn't say that. We don't want to offend them or them. See, the whole time that I've been in this industry, I definitely have been trying to cultivate community.
Yeah,
Even when, Ben and I were sitting there talking about HVAC tactical and this idea that he had, and Ben just needed a push. And look at what he's done today with HVAC
yeah,
tactical. So, by breeding that community, like I don't see these other products as competition. There's enough room in the industry for all of us, and
hmm,
everyone should be able to make some money. Everyone should have an awesome opportunity. I mean, this is why, I work closely with TradeFox, is because I
yeah,
think that, give you a good example. I think guys like Robert Kraft coming out with the Jumper King, I think that brainchild of his was awesome. I wouldn't have thought of it, but that was something that he came up with. And now he's doing very well, benefiting from introducing a product out there and allowing TradeFox to not only produce and create it, but get it out there on the shelves and out in front of everyone. And so that's why, of course, I love working with them, and I love, helping them to, build and grow that type of mentality.
yeah. And I've noticed that, just talking to you and seeing how you work, you're not worried about competition. You're not trying to fight against them or anything like that. You got your own thing going on. You're supportive of everybody, and you do your own thing.
But you remember AHR last year, right?
Yeah.
I ended up judging the RLS press
Oh, that's
competition.
right. That's right. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when we're talking about tools and options and arsenal and all that, that's the same thing I tell people with the press tool. I'm like, I'm not gonna stop brazing, right? There's always a place and a time for each tool,
Yeah,
brazing tool, torches or whatever, and then the press tool. It's just I like to have options, so that's how I
yeah.
work.
Well, I mean, you've seen guys like Mike Flynn and Jeff Dem. They've got all these followers, and they've just been able to really succeed in the social media game, and I love that. I just applaud them, all the time, and I consider them both very good friends of mine. and they press, and I have
Yeah.
no problem with it. But there are times when, like you said, Adrian, they have to braze. And so when it's all said and done, is that why are we pawning everybody against each other, or these companies
Yeah.
against each other, when the reality is that we all can get along, we all can create a good community, unlike some of these other communities out there, some of the Facebook trolls
Yeah.
out there just trying to
Which
knock everybody down.
yeah, which is interesting, like how you mentioned that you came in and you try to disrupt things. And I feel like a lot of the companies that are making a really good name for themselves are all relatively new in some form or
Yeah,
fashion. And I mean like in the past 5 to 10 years, right? There's Ben, there's a bunch of other ones.
sure.
I know, like RLS you mentioned too, like they're trying to make things different and make waves. And those are the companies that are doing really well right now, is the ones that think, how can we, well, for one, how can we help the techs and
Yeah.
how and do or make their jobs easier,
How
and
can we
how can
disrupt the
how
market in a positive way?
yeah, and how can we be different? That's all
Yep.
good things.
Yeah.
So then you did that whole traveling and speaking gig. What made you want to start Solderweld?
Well, what I really wanted was to not be on the road anymore, and so I was doing, we're working with the family business. I was doing the SEMA show every year, the huge automotive show in Vegas, and demoing and doing our product, and it was just why anytime I went to one of these shows, it was wildly successful, and I realized, this is something that I could fall back on, but our current business model isn't enough. And I
So
was
there
I
there
was on,
was there was a family automotive business
yeah,
of some
yeah,
sort.
in the past, yeah, yeah. So and that and that business did well, but was like I said, business to business. So it was constantly out, getting new business,
Yeah.
and then and making the sale, and then they would reorder, the reorder 6 months, a year, whatever, after. They weren't consuming our product as fast as the HVAC industry consumes our product, and we didn't have
Okay.
any of these new products in the line. And so, to be able to do that, family wanted to keep the business, and I wanted to build and grow in a whole different direction. I wanted to start working in the HVAC industry, but I also wanted to, get into the off-road industry, the overlanding industry.
Mhm.
And so in doing that, we split ways, and in 2016, Solderweld was created.
So you started that on your own.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
I I think I've heard
I
you
mean,
talk.
my wife was there, supported me
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah, I think I heard you talk about it on another show, and you had, like, you're basically working out of your house, right?
Garage. Yeah.
Your garage.
Yep. Yeah. Produced, did everything, boxes and boxes of tubes, filled every tube, labeled every tube, was and packaged and shipped directly from my house for a long time, actually.
And that started out on, catering to automotive,
Um,
or were you
yeah,
doing HVAC?
it was mainly automotive and off road,
Yeah.
and then I was just starting to really jump into the HVAC industry. So I was still out there selling to the automotive industry, and then, like I said, getting on my phone and looking up on Google all the HVAC companies in that area. I'm in Denver, Colorado. How many HVAC companies are there? A lot. And so I would go there, and I realized very quickly that I'd do a demonstration on how to repair an aluminum coil, and then these guys would order a few $1,000s worth of product, where an automotive shop, Garcia Automotive, with 5 techs, guess what? They'd order like a few hundred
Oh,
dollars worth of product. You
okay,
see
yeah,
what
I
I
see.
mean? It
Yeah.
was a no-brainer at that point that I realized these guys are consuming, and what do I need to do? I also need to add products that they're going to be using, which is how our Silphos came into effect, our 0, 5%, and 15% Silphos. And then, of course, your 56% silver solder. I'm the king of all silver. was an easy transition to.
No, that's awesome. Um, Very interesting that all that started in, like you said, in your garage. I can imagine the piles and piles of stuff you had to go through.
Yeah, my wife got tired of me stuffing and labeling tubes on our kitchen table. I
Yeah,
realized I
man,
needed to move it.
outgrow. So
Oh,
like you got a good, or like you said, HVAC. You could tend to sell more
right.
volume with HVAC, and I'm assuming that grew pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah. And yet it was still very difficult for me because we are doing so well over the internet, right?
Okay.
And I mean, and this is for me to make the transition from an internet solely or physical based company to a wholesale environment, such as all these parts houses across the US. They don't want me to sell over my website. They don't want me to do. They want to be the only ones that do it. However, the
Yeah.
problem with that is that you basically Solderweld takes a major hit for a period of time while they start getting the product into the shop. So that's why I went to Supco. As I said, you know what, Supco, if Supco NSI, if they can get my product out to the people, get it out in front of the techs, put it on all the stores, across the U.S., then the hit won't be so hard. And so, but that's still a work in progress, as you know. A lot
Yeah.
of what I rely on is guys like you, Adrian, that are already doing it, where you're going into your parts house and saying, when are you going to start carrying Solderweld? I want this and this and this, and eventually they will.
Yeah, man, I can imagine how hard it is because I've talked to others like John Pastorella about doing that too because he had products that were similar to others, but getting into a supply house is not easy, and it breaking habits, right? They might have
Sure.
a brand that they carry or whatever it is, and then the tech, that's what they want because they're used to it, and they don't even give anything else a try or you
They
know
don't.
I can imagine how difficult it was to kind of get or push for that.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that you partnered with Subco. Was that something that they came to you for, or did y'all work something out?
Yeah, they contacted me, very interested in our product line,
Okay.
and
So
I mean, it also Rector Seal as well. I mean, I had multiple offers, multiple suitors, if you will. Supco just, I was so impressed with Supco and their business model and who they were, and that and that the president of the company was contacting me personally.
mhm. And that's really cool because Subco essentially is almost everywhere. So if
Sure.
anybody is looking for solder weld, as long as your supply house has access to Subco, you can order your solder weld products and
Right.
get them that way.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a good plug right there.
And then once you did get into the HVAC side of things, you said I know you said you had to tweak things and this and that, but you started coming out with other products. I know like the flame resistant blanket has
Sure.
been a good one too. And how do you guys do that process of like what should you bring to market, especially in the HVAC industry once you got into that?
Um, well, I'm going to actually kind of let you in on a little bit of a secret here. So all of our products are, wake me up in the middle of the night thinking about this, thinking about that, and then boom, the idea comes, and I think, oh, this is brilliant, right? A flame resistant blanket that has magnets in it, right? And then that was actually, it was the first one of its kind. No matter what, I get that, but it was hard to find the right material, and I knew that other companies out there knew I was coming out with this, and so I was trying to get to market really quick with it, because guess what? First person to market is going to succeed. Maybe not over the long term with that initial product, but they will get it out there and it'll get in front of people.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful product. And it was actually Brian Orr that said, "I love it. Put a slit down the bottom half so that people can wrap it around, pipes and wrap it around, areas and so on. He said,
Yeah.
this is brilliant with the magnets. Well, the flame resistant material, wasn't flame proof. And so, we did go through a period of time where people were, hey, this thing burned a hole in it, and I put my torch right on it and it burned a hole in it. I said, well, yeah, I know. Keep it 3, 4, 5 inches
Yeah,
away from it and
I'm
use
guilty of it. I'm guilty
yeah,
of it too. I got a hole
yeah.
in mine.
And, and then one of our friends in the industry, came out at AHR last year and introduced their own, and it's a beautiful product. So
Okay.
and we're very close to our second product that will replace the current flame resistant blanket with a flame proof blanket that also has magnets in it and will be able to be bendable around.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be great. It's exciting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope you keep the magnets because I love anything with magnets on it. But
Believe
yeah,
me.
I'm guilty
Me
of
too.
burning a hole through mine too. But like I know I did that and I was too close to it. But more times than not, it's gonna protect anything
Sure.
behind it, right? I
Yeah.
sacrificed it a couple times just so I wouldn't burn the wires or the
Yeah.
if you're outdoors, there's dry grass everywhere too. Like there's a lot of uses for it. Even if you don't put it on a air handler or whatever it is that you're
Right.
using it for
Right.
with the magnets in the slit. But
Right.
I took that and I knew I sacrificed it, but I was like, you know what? Didn't burn any wires, didn't start a fire. We're all good.
And I think as well, using the putty along with it makes a big difference too.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I'm still learning how to use a lot of these tools like the hot block because I was trying to figure out something one time and I can't remember if it was Robert Kraft or somebody or Matt Waxer. I know it was one of them. I was trying to figure out how to do a repair because like the coil, like they were not gonna have it for like a long time, and it was aluminum coil, but it was to copper tubing.
Sure.
So I had a crack on the aluminum right next to the copper that went into it on the
Nice.
condenser.
Nice.
And I was like, how the hell do I heat one without messing up the other one? And they're like, just use some hot block. I was like, I didn't think about that. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Yeah.
it's a
I,
cool way
yeah, I wouldn't
to
be
to
surprised.
just
You got a lot of guys that use it out there. And I mean, even, we did of course, you remember we did the competition. We started
Mhm.
out with Mike Flynn and then we put his label on the hot block and that was a lot of fun. And we sold a lot of units.
How did you come up with that contest? Because like
Hey,
that's a really cool thing that's going on now too.
just like I said, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, Willy Wonka, like, what am I doing? That's perfect, right? This is it. Like, how cool would that be that guys are out looking for the golden ticket, And then we got to make it really beneficial for them. So Matt Waxer, as you said,
Mhm.
won, last year. We gave, Mike Flynn a great gift, to show our appreciation. And then, both of them got their label on a hot block encased in
Yeah.
glass, and so on. Um, and Matt Waxer became the new face, and we just finished out that campaign. And actually, you probably know Louise out of Southern California.
I
Louise,
had just talked to him prior to him winning, and
uh-huh.
we're just like talking about it because he kept finding he found like a few of them. He's like, if anybody's in this area, come down and grab you one because
He gave one to HVAC Strong
yeah, he was
when
like
he was down visiting.
he was
Mhm.
encouraging other guys to go and get it and enter it, and then lo and behold, he wins the thing.
Yeah, no, it was great, good for him.
Yeah.
And I say, I couldn't have asked for a better promoter of our products too. I mean, Matt Waxer did a phenomenal job all year promoting and pushing our product. And at the same time, here's, Louise going out there and he's like, I don't care if I win. I love your product.
Yeah.
And I want to be an ambassador for, Solderweld. I'm like, man, you are a stud. And then, 10, 15, 20 other guys are out there doing the same thing. And I was
Yeah,
pumped,
and
man.
like
I mean, it feels good.
who doesn't want their logo on a popular product like
Right.
that?
Yeah,
It's
right.
really cool, and it's beneficial to both of you. They're gonna
Sure.
get their name out there, and they're gonna put your name out there. Like, it's a really cool, um, give and take thing there where, it's beneficial to both of you.
Did he tell you
And,
what he
like,
won?
I don't think so. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Okay. Yeah. No, we did something different. Last year was all expense paid to AHR, right?
Oh, yeah.
This year it was, we're going to fill your truck with truck stock, Trade Fox and Solderweld products. So he's getting some of the coolest products on the market.
Oh, that's true, because now you guys are partnered with Subco. I mean,
Hmm.
there's so much cool things going on. And, yeah, for anybody listening, that whole campaign is after, does that start right after AHR? Or is there like a
Um,
start date?
we'll see this year. We're working with Subco on that one. We'll see, where we're going to go with this year.
Yeah.
But it has been a fun campaign.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, you basically have to find the, special edition with the logo on it of whoever
Right.
won
Right.
previously, and if you find it, you get entered in an awesome giveaway, so
Yep.
that's really cool.
Definitely.
And, speaking of, well, that was gonna be my next question, was the contest, but that's a really cool thing. Um, and then these demos, because you mentioned Matt Waxer, I know you have other people. When you go to AHR, you actually invite a lot of these influencers, or as you say, friends, to come to the booth with you, and they also do the demos and kind of help you out with the booth, just because it's like a fun time. Because I'm walking around and I'll make a lot of stops at the Solderweld booth, just to hang out, because
Yeah.
it's a little
Well,
spot for everybody.
that was a lot of fun coming up with that idea. Was I actually worked with it with um, the girl that helps me with social media, and I told her, I said, why don't we do like a baseball card that these guys
Oh,
can get, they can collect. It's just something, again, what it's the memories that we make, right, Adrian? It's that. And then I thought, and then here's the thing, is not only are we going to do this, we're going to invite all these guys out there, and we're going to feature their baseball card, feature their football card the next year, right?
yeah.
Feature their card, and then tell everyone out there in the social media game, come check us out. I'm going to be here at this place. And that was not something that anybody was doing. It wasn't an influencer thing back then. And so all of a sudden, like, you're coming to AHR,
Mhm.
where the home base was, right? It was at
Yeah.
the Solderweld booth, and we had the cornhole set out there, and I mean, everybody was hanging out, and people were just coming, and they would go out onto the
Yeah.
AHR floor, and then they'd come back to the Solderweld booth and hang out there, because they knew everybody kept coming back there. And so it was, again, community. It was that thing where all of a sudden everybody is coming together and saying, this is where we're going to meet, and then we'll go do what we want to do, but we'll always know we can meet here. That was
Yeah,
actually a lot of fun coming up with that.
and that was a cool thing, because even on, like, Vegas, this last, time was my first time, the one
Yeah,
in Vegas, and I just naturally gravitated to y'all's booth too,
yeah,
because I was like, I went there, got to see everybody, because everybody
yeah.
goes there. Got to see you and Ben and hang out with you guys, and just felt, like a cool spot to hang out at. So I thought that was
That's
cool.
fun. Yeah, it was fun. And I'm now I can't before I ever get a chance to contact any of any of my friends, any influencers, they've already been scheduled with all these other companies now, and they're like, okay, well, we've got this guest appearance here, so it's really cool how that's taken off for all of them. I'm
Yeah,
excited for it.
I was gonna say, now it's more of them are doing it, where they're having, uh like, these little, interactions, or special times, and things like that at other, uh booths and stuff. So it's a
Yeah,
really fun time, and, the Solder World one is where it's at, though.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And speaking of your middle of the night ideas and stuff like that, I believe the rod saver is the one that you came up with, right?
Yeah.
And, I think I saw that it went up on True Tech Tools. I need to go grab one. But, was that just another
Yeah, you're gonna
random
love it.
crazy idea.
It's actually really cool. I mean, it's really not that far off of like a welding torch has a feeder
Hmm.
on it and feeds the wire through it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was an offshoot of that, and yeah, um, it was interesting because Josh with Trade Fox, we were just talking about it and talking about it. It's like, this is a brilliant idea. We've really got to develop it, and it's cool because now you can just hold it in your hand and feed the wire through or pull it back. And then when your wire, or not wire, your rods
Rod,
get
yeah.
down to your, this spot where they're too hot to hold with your hand or gloves even, you just put
Hmm.
them in there, lock them into place, and then use that, and your hand doesn't even get hot. It's awesome. So
Yeah, I know.
it's a cool thing if you do braze.
Yeah, and there's gonna be people out there like, oh, just use your hand, use a glove, use a pliers, and I'm like, I want to get one and kind of demo it, and
I think you're gonna
um,
like it.
yeah, it's really cool because I've done all those things. I use my pliers to hold the little stub,
Sure.
or I'm there like okay, once it gets too hot, I'm just gonna like let it go, right? You're trying to get every last piece of your brazing rod, and now that you have a basically a holder for it, then you can feed any little stubs that you guys have left
Or the
over.
whole
Or
18, 20
yeah,
inches of it too. Just put it through the end, and then you're just feeding it through there. But
yeah,
this is the thing, Adrian, is that, yeah, and you said it. Somebody's out there going to say, what's wrong with my pliers? And I'm going to tell them nothing's wrong with your pliers at all, except they are going to get hot and they're
yeah.
going to move up to to your hands. But the other thing is that why not buy a cool tool? We all love tools.
Hmm.
This is another tool, and this is the first tool that I've come up with. And I've got a whole lot of other ideas, but this is a really cool tool that I've come up with, and I really like it. And the other thing about it is this. Guys tell me all the time, well, I always take those little pieces and I just melt them together till I have a long string of them. And I said, well, how much gas are you using when you do that? I
How
mean, come
much?
on, we're trying to save some
Yeah,
money here, not waste money.
yeah,
So
and that they don't think about all that because even with the press tool that they're like, oh, that it costs money, right? The couplings and all that. And I'm like, you got to refill your torch tanks, right? Like that stuff's not free either. Like there's always a cost. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, even with that, when you kind of daisy link them together, like you got to do it somewhere safe too. I mean, where you're gonna do it, you're usually in a customer's house or a rest.
Yeah.
Like I deal with restaurants. I'm not gonna be burning the floor or whatever.
But
Then
think
somebody
about how
has
many.
to hold it for you while you put it together. I mean, there's different
But
things.
you're right, though. A lot of the techs, they don't think about it because they're not necessarily paying for the Silphos that's expensive right now. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
more expensive now than really it's ever been. And so the idea behind that is simple. If you end up having 3 inches of a rod left and it's burning your hand, so you throw it on the ground, how much did that cost right there to the company that you're working for, or you as a new business owner? How much does that cost? And then you've got what, hundreds of these things that just get
Yeah.
tossed over time. So thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's stuff that you don't think about, and it's
Yeah.
like you said, it's just a cool tool. And I'm one like I was doing a job recently, and I recorded it for my channel and whatever. And I was like, I feel kind of lazy. I feel kind of like guilty that I have so many tools now that make my job easier. And it's just that I'm a little older, I'm a little wiser, right? Like I want everything easy to carry or makes it, easier to do. And sometimes people have that old mentality where it's like, no, you got to do it the hard way, but you don't have to. Like just buy
Yeah.
the tool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Is there so then you're working on other stuff. I assume you're writing down some ideas and you got more tools you want to put out there?
Yeah, I'm actually, half the time now I'm inundated with, all you guys, sending me ideas for Trade Fox and stuff that are coming through me or coming through Josh. And,
Mhm.
it's exciting. it's exciting to see all these cool ideas that are coming, coming around that very well could turn into the next winning product. So behind the scenes, I'm working on my own stuff I hope to introduce some more things that will make everybody's lives easier.
Do you have like prototypes of all that stuff, or like how far are you with those?
Uh, Still in the creation phase. Yeah.
Okay. And
But go ahead.
that's a cool thing, because the whole Trade Fox, it makes it easier for you to get good ideas made into actual tools that you can get. So
Well, if
that's really
everybody
cool.
realized how hard it is to go from an idea in your head to an
Yeah.
actual product on the shelf and produced and being produced properly, you probably, maybe you remember, Robert had a tough time because
Yeah.
once it hit the market, it was oversold like that. The Jumper King was out of stock everywhere, and you couldn't get it. Well, we were
Yeah.
trying to get more product, to the distributors. So
Yeah,
it's
and I've talked to him just about the whole process, because he went through different routes of doing it. But now that Trade Fox is a thing, and they're taking ideas and helping people put that out there, like it's not a for sure thing. It's not a fast track by any means, right? You need to have the idea, and the more you can give them, the better that your that the process will be. But like, at least it's there to where you can kind of get a little jump start if you need it.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a guaranteed thing, and your
Yeah.
idea may be a seller, but it also has to be a seller. It has to be something that is gonna take off. Really,
Yeah,
we
that's
want you to
awesome.
be successful.
Yeah, I can't wait to see, what else you got going on there, man. And I
Definitely.
think Robert too said he was working on some other stuff. I think that's really cool. I uh I think I've been on that side a little bit, but it's because I deal with a VETO Pro Pack, so I got to help them do a little designing here and there, and now that kind of got my gears going, right? And I'm like, okay, I need to just write down everything that I've ever thought of, right? And that's my first step, getting everything on paper, and then I can
That is.
get it going, and maybe one day we'll get it that far.
That's good. Yeah, it happens.
All right, man. I don't know if you want to close out with anything. We're
Sure.
going over an hour now, but
Oh, yeah.
your business, it's a really interesting story. Like, you started this on your own, you got it to where it is now. I can imagine how hard it was for you, but like, what well, let me ask you this. What kept you going, and didn't what how come you didn't get scared off? Because like you said, there's a David versus Goliath theme here, because the stuff that you were trying to get into, there was already other manufacturers that had been around a long time, like set in place.
Adrian, I mean, a lot of people can say it was just, the blind duck. I was out there just working my ass off. No real idea what kind of people I was up against. But I will tell you this: no matter what, it's tenacity and determination. Because there were plenty of times that I could have given up. There were plenty of times when, you walk into the office of the vice president of one of these other companies, and they have your orange canister sitting on their desk, which you're like, the orange canister I'm talking about. I grab mine; it's hooked to the wall there. But you walk in there and you realize these guys have you on their radar.
Mm,
They're paying attention to what you're doing. They're watching what you're doing, and you know they're the kind of companies that could, with the flick of a wrist, gobble us up at any time. You know what I mean? And that scares me. Yeah. So tenacity and determination.
that's awesome, man. And I know, like you said, you've been around the community for a long time on Instagram, and all these social media guys. It I'm assuming you saw how important that was, that community, because a lot of businesses just want to, like I said earlier, like they want to push the product in front of you. They don't really care too much, but it seems like you are more worried about leaving like a legacy versus just being a business that pops up and is like, here's my product, and I don't care about anything else.
Talk about an assist. That's a layup right there. Wow, you just really set me up for a good closing, didn't you? Yeah, man, this has been a lot of fun. This hour went by really quick, and I'm going to tell you, this has been a lot of fun, Adrian. I appreciate you having me on the on your podcast. I guess if what you're asking is for a few final words is, if you have the opportunity to come to AHR this year in Chicago, please do it. Make the effort, because sometimes just seeing these guys on Instagram, whether we're cultivating a community of people together and, supporting an idea like we did with Ben at HVAC Tactical, and really helped him to build that, idea into what it is today. Whether it's just pushing you guys from behind the scenes, it makes a big difference showing up and actually putting faces to, the names, the Instagram handles, if you will. And our community is a strong one. Our community is one where, we all, I really believe, care that everybody does well and everybody, succeeds. Whether you're getting paid for it or not, it's that takes you out of your day-to-day grind and gives you something else to think about, something else to have fun with. And the reality behind it is, I think it elevates our industry. It elevates our techs. It elevates the manufacturers of products like Solderweld that come out and say, okay, we need to do a better job supporting these guys because they're smarter, they work harder, and they need us to support them better.
That's awesome, man. And that's
my legacy. Yeah.
And that was another point that I was going to make is like you said, you go out there, you meet all these people, and it elevates everybody, because I feel like a lot of people in this community, whether it's online, if you get to go to HR, even better. Everybody motivates everybody, and then I feel like everybody leaves the award show and the AHR Expo motivated to do better and to help others do better.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you for doing the show, coming on, making the time. Like I said, I know, well, you say you're not as busy, but I know you're busy. I know you got things to do. I know Solderweld is doing big things right now, and I hope to see more, man.
Hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time too. Thanks, Adrian.
All right, so everybody watching and listening, I will see you guys. Thank you.